On Sunday evening in our previous bulletin, we reported on the rumoured build-up of United Nations forces in Botswana, prompting speculation over the possible occupation of the country by the UNO military wing. Since the 2nd of November elections earlier this month, things have rapidly deteriorated in the country, with many predicting the imminent collapse of the now bankrupt ANC government. 70% of registered voters shunned the polls, effectively leaving Cyril Ramaphosa's government with a meagre 9% mandate to represent the 55 to 60 million population of South Africa. With the country's power grid teetering on the verge of collapse, anti-government sentiment has hit an all-time high. This is fueling the speculation over the UN's build-up in Botswana. The South African General Assembly issued a cease and desist order to the United Nations. Here are snapshots of the documents sent to the United Nations. This is the front cover of the document from the SA General Assembly. It's headed, as you can see, SA Cease and Desist Order to the United Nations. You can read the rest there. The salient point, I would presume, on this page is that it is being addressed to Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations Secretariat, here after the debtor. Notice they called them the debtor, so that they seem to think that the United Nations is in debt to them. Not quite sure how they're ever going to collect that debt or how they're going to enforce it. But anyway, that's page 1. Further in the document, it states that all agreements and contracts made between RSA Inc., which is the Republic of South Africa Incorporated, and the United Nations agencies are all hereby declared null and void back to the beginnings, which would mean that they go back to the 24th of October 1945 when the United Nations was created. Now, as I say, how they intend enforcing this and what mechanism they're going to use remains a mystery to me. Now, my analysis on this is that one of the key issues to the framers of this document are the country's mineral rights, which they claim were legally obtained and are legally invalid, and for which they are claiming compensation. Obviously, a power vacuum will ensue when the government collapses, which is now considered an inevitability. And one of the goals of the United Nations forces would thus be to secure the rights of these global consortiums that are engaged in mining activities in South Africa, upon which the global economy depends on very heavily. Those wishing to see the entire document sent by the SA General Assembly to the United Nations can go over to the SA General Assembly's website. It's a pretty long document. As I say, the main thing that I could glean from it is that the issue of mineral rights is essential to much of this. Whatever you may think about all of this, there is certainly no reason to discount the unconfirmed reports emanating from Gaborone. Aside from mineral interests, the country is a strategic region on the continent, and a collapse will have a global impact. On the 18th of September, when I did a live podcast on lovinglifetv.com, you can see the full video there. It was about an hour and a half. I mentioned at one stage that we should not discount the possibility of the United Nations getting involved. Here is the clip. Very, very happy that I'm in South Africa right now for the first time ever. I'm very pleased because I obviously, very often thought about immigrating. So, but we mustn't rule out the United Nations getting involved, if our guys are too incompetent. I see they are already moving around. What can we do, you say? Well, I think it might be a very good idea to stock up on things like fuel essentials, like dried grains and soup mixes, split peas. Obviously, rice is a staple. Buy in bulk to save. Oil, the same. Cooking oil, buy in bulk to save. Canned goods, onions, obviously potatoes, and other vegetables that are durable and will last. And obviously, finally, baking flour. That concludes this broadcast. Thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. It's very important. It is the way a YouTube channel survives. And this channel needs to reach the goal of 1,000 subscribers. It's still way off that mark. Please make the effort. It will only take you a few seconds. Thank you very much.